funded by the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland with the television licence fee.
You're listening to Programme 5 of the 5-part series Say Yes to Health and No to Drugs. Throughout our modern Ireland, many people and groups are doing Trojan work to help people recover from addiction, whether it be to drugs, drink or whatever, and live addiction-free lives. One such group is Cuan Mhuire Addiction Treatment Centre based in Newry, County Down. To explain what it's all about, here's Jerry McElroy, Deputy Manager of Cuan Mhuire Newry.
Cuan Mhuire Newry hopefully is all about the person, all about the recovery of the person, putting them on the right track, putting them back into society where they can lead a full life. We offer a 12-week residential programme for those with alcohol and gambling problems. And I suppose the goal of the programme is that when the person leaves, that they're able to go back into society, to participate in society, to be able to live fully functioning lives without the need of alcohol or a crutch of gambling.
And what are the challenges in helping a person to overcome their addiction, Jerry?
Well, I suppose one of the main challenges is getting the person to accept that if they be addicted to alcohol, they can no longer again drink alcohol. Coming to accept that alcohol can play no further part in their life. And, acceptance would be very big and difficult to get through to some people. But hopefully, using the approach that we use, the harm that it is causing in their lives, the destruction to themselves, to their families and so on, and hopefully that we can offer an alternative, that there is a better life without alcohol or gambling.
There is a life after addiction, in other words. And also I was talking with a few of, the people here in Cuan Mhuire Newry just in a recent visit, and they were saying to me, work therapy, huge part of the recovery process. How much a core component, Jerry?
Well, we would say that, in order to remain sober, it's important to have a structure in your life. It's important, to have some sort of a meaningful occupation. And while here, the day is pretty structured and residents take part in work therapy, take part in the workshops, and also to take part in educational therapies with computer classes and so on. It's important, I think, for the person to be active, to not have too much time to think, too much time to spend on their own, too much time to feel isolated and so on. Because very often in the early days, the person goes back into negative thinking.
Right, in other words, get them out there, get them into support groups and everything, and it's part of a team that is going to work. Would I be right?
Yeah. I suppose a person is, by coming here, is saying, despite my best efforts, I'm not able to stay off drink, stay away from gambling and such. And we offer, a life where you will be able to stay off alcohol and stay away from gambling by using the supports available. By making the changes in your life, you will be able to cope without the need to pick up alcohol or take part in gambling.
Right. And Jerry, what about the spiritual element as well? This was pointed out to me by a number of the people I was talking with here, recently, and they were saying that, meditation and the like, and finding that inner reconciliation, how important?
Yeah, well, I suppose all the Cuan Mhuires, they're established, I suppose, in peaceful surroundings. They're away from the hustle and bustle of towns, etc. And, hopefully it's the first step to give the person a chance to take a look at themselves, to take a look at their life. And, the spiritual aspect is important, how they see things, to take a look at their values, to take a look at, the life that they could have and would have if they moved away from alcohol, because not alone does alcohol affect you, physically and mentally, it also affects you spiritually and emotionally too. So it's important to, a spiritual aspect to your recovery.
Jerry, can you just tell our listeners, what's the normal daily schedule here in Cuan Mhuire? From the time a person gets up in the morning to the time they put their head down to sleep at night?
Well, the normal day is the person gets up around 6:30 a.m, 7 o'clock the breakfast, 7:30 there's meditation, 8 o'clock there's a morning meeting, and the meetings follow a topic for the week. After the morning meeting, they tidy up their bed space, and then there's coffee break at 9, and then they go to the workshops or whatever area they're working in the house, whether it be in art, pottery or whatever, or if they're taking part in computer courses or whatever. And that goes on to 12:30, where lunch takes place. 1:15 there's a further meeting, goes on to 2:15, and then there's a coffee break, and then you return to your area of work. And we also have gym for the males and females, and we also have quizzes as well. But it's a pretty full day, and you're better somewhat active, you know, than too much time to think, you know. And that's why the group is important. As we say, stick with the winners, and to stick with those that are trying, you know, or you feel are trying.
Jerry, have you any advice to anyone out there who's listening who's probably suffering from addiction themselves, or knows someone caught up in the hellhole of an addiction?
Yeah, well, if you feel that, you know, your addiction is a problem, and it will be a problem if it is an addiction, you know, to get help, you know, by contacting some of the services, or by contacting ourselves and taking it from there. And generally, you know, we can, you know, walk you through what the programme is about and all the rest, and discuss fears or concerns you may feel you have.
Because fear is a big factor, Jerry, that, you know, I mean, people just trying to overcome that initial fear, break away from the old patterns. Would I be right?
Yes. You know, we often say to residents, you've taken the first step by coming here, and that's the biggest step for a lot of people, you know, that you come here of your own free will to do something about your problem. And of course people are fearful, they're apprehensive, but hopefully, you know, over the first week, 2 weeks here, you know, that they can generally settle, and we ease them generally into the programme, and that they feel comfortable here.
Hey, my name's Ross.
Now, Ross, we're here in Cuan Mhuire, Newry. Can you just tell us a small bit about your past, and we'll talk about the recovery thereafter?
Yeah. Past, so I'm actually 26. I come from a family of 5, 2 elder brothers. I'm the youngest. And basically from Newry here in County Down. And I'm struggling with alcohol and gambling as well.
You're here now at Cuan Mhuire in Newry. We're doing the interview here, Ross. How did you come across Cuan Mhuire in Newry here?
Basically, growing up in Newry, I've always heard of Cuan Mhuire. Locally now, it would have been known as Sister Concilios, but it's always had such a good name around the town and the local area, helping people with addiction, that I felt like it was the right step for me when I needed the help, you know.
So what motivated Ross to make the initial phone call to Cuan Mhuire, Newry, in the first place?
I felt in myself that I had changed as a person. I wasn't as happy and content in myself. And I could feel that the drink and the gambling, they were controlling me more now so than I was controlling them. So that's when I felt like I needed to take action and really put a hand out and ask for help, you know. So basically I looked up Cuan Mhuire Newry on the internet, and straight away I found their webpage and rang up and was speaking to one of their staff members, and they talked me through the step-by-step process, which was, first of all, the best part for me was finally being able to open up and tell somebody, look, I have a problem here. And they were brilliant. Straight away they told me step by step what I needed to do, and how I needed to go about getting into the centre, you know. And it was just fairly easy, just let my GP know that this is the route I want to take, and the staff really dealt with it from there.
Right, great. Okay, so you come to Cuan Mhuire. What was kind of the routine, the daily routine that now occurred in your life, Ross?
Well, coming into Cuan Mhuire, first of all, I was quite nervous coming into a centre I didn't know too much about, apart from the research that I'd done online. But coming in, straight away the residents and the staff alike helped with the nerves. They calmed me down, let me know that I was in a real caring and loving place, and straight away I got comfortable with my surroundings and felt quite at home actually. But in terms of routine, it's quite just a normal daily life. You wake up in the morning, you have your breakfast, and then you have day-to-day chit-chat with your fellow residents. But a part of the structure would be the more spiritual side of things. So you have meditation, which is where you would just really try to relax and calm any thoughts, get really down to earth with yourself. And then on to group therapy meetings, which is you, the rest of your residents and other facilitators there, just basically talking about how you're coping and what help you need, It's brilliant.
And how important the group sport? Because I was talking with a few of your colleagues, Ross, and so many of them were saying that this is where it's at for them. The cures in the group or the healings in the group, that we're saying and so on. How important?
Well, I believe it's the key, really. I tried to quit gambling and alcohol on my own, and the problem I found was whenever I was on my own, yes, I could step away from it, but it was only a matter of time before I fell back into that routine. Because what happened to me personally was I got confident, and some might say cocky, in thinking that I had this beat, I had this cured, and I can go at it again and things will be different. And things weren't different. So eventually what made me come to the realisation was I came into the centre to remove myself from the opportunity of doing that. And in doing so, it showed me that it's a lot easier when you have friends, support networks, the likes of AA and GA, and everyone is there to give you a hand. You're not doing it on your own, so it's a lot easier.
That's brilliant. And it's kind of, in other words, no person is an island. We're all in this together and we're all going to help each other progress in life and get free from addiction. Would it be right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's really the key concept to AA and GA, that it's a group. You're not just a sole entity. You're there with your fellow people, in your group, and everyone's helping everyone, and everyone can identify with people. There's nothing really in AA or GA that someone can say to shock me, because straight away in my head I can think, wow, I've either thought of that or done that or been there, and it's just brilliant to know that you're not alone.
In other words, there's a connection, this guy gets me and I get him.
Yeah, 100%. It just makes the conversation flow. And
I'd say it's nearly vital, Ross, would I be right, to real healing, real understanding, real kind of enlightenment, without getting too philosophical about it, would it, yeah?
Yeah, well, it just makes you realise that a lot of times, obviously, people know that alcohol is a depressant. Gambling is, in my opinion, definitely a depressant, because it's such an internal struggle with the gambling side of things for me. But alcohol being a depressant, it often drags you down to quite dark places. And knowing that when you come into the fellowship, the AA groups, or here in Cuan Mhuire, the counselling with your fellow residents, to realise that, we're all together, we're all in the same boat. We all have had the same feelings and emotions throughout our lives. It's just great to know that now you're not on your own, and there seems to be light at the end of the tunnel, which there most definitely is.
Also as well, an important part of the recovery programme, so to speak, a core component is the work as well, occupational therapy. How important for yourself, your own experience?
I think it's quite important. A lot of the time, whenever I was in the height of my addiction, the only thing I could focus on was the next drink. The only thing I could really think of was, where am I getting money to gamble? Where am I getting money to drink? And everything else fell at the wayside. So right down to the basic things, even general hygiene, showering, washing, brushing my teeth. It sounds quite trivial, but it's the things like that once you get the concrete structure in for a good structured daily living, everything else seems to fall in place. And one of them things that everyone needs, I think, is a good work ethic. So if you can get up in the morning, you can brush your teeth, look yourself in the mirror and get out and do a good day's work, you automatically feel good about yourself, because you feel like you've accomplished something. So, instead of doing what I was doing, which was unfortunately in a dark room, drinking and quite withdrawn, isolating myself, now I've came to a centre where I'm surrounded by like-minded people. I'm getting up, getting on with my day and feeling a great reward at the end of it all, you know. So it's definitely a key component.
And after my talk with Ross in Cuan Mhuire Addiction Treatment Centre in Newry, I next met up with recovering alcoholic Mary, who at the time had nearly finished her recovery programme there.
Hi, my name's Mary and I'm an alcoholic.
Now, Mary, just tell us a small bit about your story and then we'll get into the recovery, so to speak.
Before I came to Cuan Mhuire, life for me had become unmanageable. I was lost, alcohol had taken, I was a slave to alcohol really, and it had taken everything from me. I was alone, I isolated myself, and it got to the point that I was finding I was lost, I didn't know what to do, and the fear, and it did become really the only way out for me at that stage was I didn't want to be here anymore.
That bad. Rock bottom, in other words.
Rock bottom, yeah, absolutely.
And okay, when did it change? When
When it changed it was one night really. I'd known for a while things were getting out of control and that, you know, nobody really understood. Everyone was saying, because I was young, I was still going out with my friends and partying, everybody was doing the same thing, but it was the hiding, the manipulating, the sneaking about that I was doing, and it was during the week, which my friends and family didn't know about. So it then got to the stage that I would have said to myself that because I was still going to work, that I wasn't an alcoholic, you know, I was still functioning. But very, very quickly it came to the point where work wasn't even on the agenda anymore. I wasn't bothering to go to work. I was hiding out. This is where it all started. The lies, the manipulation, and it was exhausting.
What age, Mary? What age at the time? Yeah, because you're a young woman.
Yeah, I'm just turned 31.
Wow,
yeah.
My God, wow. So it really hit hard. And how did you find Cuan Mhuire, Mary?
Well, the day I rang Cuan Mhuire, I was nervous ringing. I was scared ringing. And a lady come on the phone. Well, she spoke to me and I already felt, because I thought there was no help there. You know, I was like, I didn't think anybody could help me. And the lady that I spoke to on the phone, I just felt the love and the care. And I remember coming off the phone and looking at Dad and like taking a sigh of relief. I'm going, I don't think this is going to be that bad. I think they can help me here. And they knew what I was talking about. They understood me, which nobody else did at home. So within a couple of days, I come into Cuan Mhuire. So yes, I was scared coming in. And it was daunting, you know, knowing that it's 12 weeks. I was thinking, you know, but then when you look at it, it's only 12 weeks out of my life, you know, and it is life or death. So I come in here to assessment and full of bag of nerves, didn't know what to expect, and the staff welcomed me with open arms and, you know, reassured me. And then the massive thing was the girls that were in the house already, that were here, and see to sit down and talk to them, and anything you said to anybody, they weren't shocked, you know, they got where I was coming from, they understood me, and I didn't feel alone anymore. And a big thing for me as well was I felt after time, you know, I fitted in here. And I've never felt like I fitted in, you know. And to get answers, as we come out of assessment, we spent 2 weeks here, moved up to St Teresa's where the programme really starts. And yes, so you've all the guidelines, and that can be a bit daunting at the start, and I was rebelling a bit, but I'd always rebelled, you know. And as soon as we got stuck into the programme, we went to the group meetings. Well, see, to sit in a group with girls that understand you, and for everybody to share your story and to feel safe sharing your story, to know, like, to see the thoughts and things that you're thinking of, the bad person you were, that where alcohol brought you, and for me to be able to speak out and not to be judged was like the world was being lifted off my shoulders. Now, as the time went on and you got all that stuff from the past and everything out, you know, and you relax, and I have to say, like, even the laugh came back, the joy oh my God, I mean, the crack we had up there as well. And you can go through so many emotions in a day. I mean, you can go from down on the ground till way up high, and you feel all your emotions, and it's okay to cry if you need to cry, and there's always somebody there to speak to. The staff, you just go and knock that door and they just welcome you. It's just, come on in, and they can see instantly in your face, oh, there's something wrong, come on in, sit down and let's talk about this here. So yeah, this place it's gave me hope again and faith, and I'm looking forward. I go home now next Friday, and I'm looking forward to going home. I'm looking forward to living a life without alcohol and not being a slave to that, and there's freedom there as well. Now, yes, I'm a wee bit scared. There's a bit of fear still of going out, but it's a healthy fear, a fear of alcohol that I don't want that to go back into that life anymore. And I know what I have to do. This place has gave me the foundation that I need to go back out into that world, and I've got all the tools, and it's going to be tough because I'm safe in here, but I'm not scared to go out and face that. I know what I have to do, get to my AA meetings, and there's aftercare as well done with Cuan Mhuire for another 2 years, and I know that when I'm going out there, I'm not alone anymore. I'll always have this place to call, at any time of the day or night if I need any help or if I'm struggling. And a big thing to learn was that if I am struggling, is to say it, and the honesty, to be honest that if there's a day that I'm going, and I'm going to have them days, I'm not going out of here going that, oh, that's me cured, and not. It's something I have to work at, and it's living in that day. And that just gives, just knowing that you just have to get through that day and live in that day, not thinking the alcoholic mind, it runs ahead and back into the past. And it's all about, like, the guidelines in here when you first come in, you can think, God, they're very overwhelming. But as time went on, like I sat the other day, I was having a wee chat with one of the staff, and I was saying, I get now these guidelines. I have structure in my life. I couldn't tell you last time I had breakfast before I come in here, and yeah, I have a structure now to my day, and it's about planning that and taking it one step at a time, and my head has slowed down now. I'm not this constant rushing, and you're always rushing to get that drink and planning your whole, as I said, that word slave, I was a slave to alcohol, but now from being in Cuan Mhuire, I feel free. And I couldn't recommend to anybody enough that if you're feeling, just to make that call. All you have to do is ring and say that voice. I know all the staff in here, and I've heard them on the phones and speak to us and speak to everybody, that when you lift that phone, the reassurance and the love, the unconditional love that you get in here, and the unconditional love that you get for yourself is just, it's amazing, absolutely amazing.
Cuan Mhuire, we try to help people get themselves back on track.
My life turned around when I came to Cuan Mhuire. I know I have a better life.
It's open to everyone in all denominations and all creeds or whatever.
We have centres throughout the country in Limerick and Galway and Newry.
Nobody is actually turned away, and everyone is welcome here.
Over the last 5 programmes in this Say Yes to Health and No to Drugs series, we've primarily investigated the Trojan work of many groups in Ireland, such as Cuan Mhuire, Ashiri, Cool Mind Therapeutic Community, Chrysalis Community Drug Project, and various recovery support groups like AA, GA and NA, in helping people to recover from addiction and return to addiction-free lives. Also in the first programme of this series, we investigated the work of various people and groups in helping to educate the general public, in particular young people, about the importance of making healthy life choices concerning alcohol and drugs. With this in mind, I asked David, who found recovery from addiction to drugs in Cool Mind Therapeutic Community, the following question. David.
Have any advice to young people out there about making healthy life choices regarding alcohol and drugs and steering clear of addiction?
Look, the only advice I could give is what I noticed about myself is I got in with the wrong crowd as a young fella, and all the lads who would be doing well in my class and playing football, who I used to look down as if they're geeks and they're nerds. They're the fellas that I seen 7 and 8 years later that were driving their own cars, going on to get married, while I was still stuck in the same rut. The fellas we'd call names were the fellas that ended up doing well. You know, so the only thing I can say is just try and stick with good people. Try and
stick with the winners.
Stick with the winners, which is the lads in your class that play the football, that go out for the game of pool on the weekend, that go and watch the football, and stick with the lads that are doing the good stuff.
And being clean.
Living a normal life. The lads who are working, when you're young and you're told to get a job, get the job, start earning money, start travelling, start going to football matches, do the things that young fellas should be doing, all the stuff I missed out on that I'm only starting to catch up on now as I'm 30, and I'm loving it. Stuff that my own little brother has done for the past 10 years, and a qualified electrician. Whereas look, I got a delay in it, or I got advise it. And when your parents are telling you to go out and get a job, get the job, start earning money, and your money starts going up. You start going on holidays, living life, getting a girlfriend, going out playing. If you're playing football, play football, meet your friends, go over the game of pool, the normal stuff, and it starts progressing. Because if you're going to start meeting the fellas that are sneaking and bunking off school, there's only one place it ends up, and I'll tell you where I was told it'd end up and I wasn't listening. It ends up in prison, and eventually it ends up you're living on the streets, and that's the reality of it. It's not rocket science. If you're going down that road not showing up to the simple things like school and stuff, you're not going to show up to work, and you're not going to show up to anything, and you're going to have to rob to feed what you're doing. There's 2 ways of life you can go. You can go down with the lads that don't go to school and bunk off and smoke weed and take drugs, or you can go off with the lads that are going to school and get a job, and they're 2 completely different lives, you know, and you know which one you have to take, which is the normal life. Stay in school, work, and it really is simple, you know.
Going down the road of alcohol and drugs is not a good life. It doesn't work. It always, I wouldn't even say it maybe, it always ends badly. Always. Never ends positively. Always negative.
A life of addiction is a very painful life, and it can happen so easily.
Active addiction does nothing but robs you of everything that you are.
The consequences are very dark for people.
It does kill at the end of the day. Without me being dramatic, that's how serious it is. It's life or death. It really is.
It is life or death.
Funded by the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland with the television licence fee.